So when I was a kid, I loved making stuff. My friends and I would go into each other's basements and we'd create stuff. It was interesting because I recently saw something on Facebook where this guy had this snow bike. Well, 30 years ago, we created a snow bike. It wasn't quite as good as the one that you saw, but it was a snow bike nonetheless, and the first prototype basically went straight. If you tried to turn, you would flip over and kill yourself. So we went back and redesigned it so it would work a little bit better. So I ended up going to school for photography at the Art Institute of Chicago. And when I was there, I think part of the reason I enjoyed art school was, just the ability to create and make something. I was not interested in business. I'm still not interested in business. I don't really enjoy the art of selling. I like the art of making and creating. So I started getting into welding and metal fabrication and working with wood and working with concrete and all kinds of different textures and materials, stuff that was warm, stuff that was cold. One of the first things I worked on was lamps, and actually I was incorporating metal fabrication with photography. I wanted to make the shades out of photographs I took. And it was interesting because the hardest part was actually figuring out the paper that would work. The next real big project I kind of started working with was making fountains. I ran across some basalt rock actually at a bonsai dealer, and I bought a whole bunch of this basalt rock that I could make. It was pre-drilled already, so it was easy to hook the fountains up to that. And one of the first things I made was a fountain, and I wanted the fountain to actually come through the top of a table. I don't like to make a lot of the same item, I get bored of it, and I want to try something new. I mean, part of what I'm doing here is just not creating things, but always trying to expand, always trying to learn. That's where my interest lies, to learn new processes, to learn new techniques, to create new types of items. That doesn't mean that I won't go back and do something or refine it. It's just that I'm always open to expand. So one of the issues I had run into was, obviously in the wintertime, it can be difficult to do certain aspects. So I started making jewelry, and that was great because it was like something new or something I could do differently during the winter than the spring, summer, and fall. So working with your hands is not only rewarding, but it's also relaxing. You would think that it's loud and dirty, but it's not. It gives you kind of that time to yourself where you tune everything out and you're just kind of focused on what you're doing at that point in time.